All right, this is SFBarkast. I'm Jeff Cleary.
I'm Andrew Lauder.
And Andrew, where are we today?
We are at the Buddha Lounge.
Buddha Lounge in Chinatown. I think it's our first Chinatown bar.
Yeah, what is this, corner of Grant and Washington?
Yeah.
Right deep into Chinatown.
Deep Chinatown, right on Grant Street. I think someone told me that San Francisco has the highest Chinese population outside of Asia.
I think, yeah, it might even be the highest Asian population outside of Asia. It might even go, but I mean, that's China and Asia, pretty much the same thing.
I wonder, like, every time we talk about population stuff, it's always, like, all these qualifiers. It's like
right.
Per capita or, like, per square mile or...
Are we talking about women between the ages of 20 and 21?
I actually feel like it would be... It's hard to believe that statistic is true because I've been to Vancouver, which is a massive city.
Right.
And it has a huge Asian population.
Yeah, I remember, because I mean, I grew up in Seattle, and so we, every once in a while, I think we would go up to Vancouver and, like, go to a Chinatown restaurant there.
Ooh, classy.
Things like that. I know, yeah. Well, not, when I say every once in a while, I think I remember going once. So once every 20 or 30 years, my family would take the kids to...
This story checks out.
Right. Who knows? I mean, my parents were probably, smuggling drugs anyway, and so they decided to do the whole Chinatown kids trip as a front.
Okay. So you picked this bar. Why'd you pick this bar?
Well, yeah, one reason was, like you said, we haven't done anything in Chinatown, and I recall being here a while ago, and it's just it's a super small, totally divey. Like you just get the feeling there's just rich history here because it's just like
you have the feeling it's been here forever.
Yeah, and sitting here for the last 15 minutes or so, you can look out the front door, and since it's on Grant, I mean you pretty much got like every tourist in the world walking in front of this place.
Yeah,
but
it's pretty
nobody
amazing.
Coming in.
I was riding my bike up here, and it's just like tourists standing in the middle of the street trying to get a photo of like Grant Street and all the Asian sort of decorations.
No, and it's funny because you look at all the sort of faces on the people that walk by, and it sort of breaks down. Like there's the people that that completely ignore it and stay face forward, and then there's the sort of horrified people that look at it like, oh my god, like that place looks like I'd get killed in that place.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
And then you've got the people that either saw it on Anthony Bourdain's show or read about it in Lonely Planet. We're like, oh, the Buddha Lounge, here it is, and then are still like, oh, that's too frightening to even think about.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of when you're walking up Grant Street, there's a lot of nice sort of little Asian shops where you can buy tourist gifts that you bring back home.
Cheap chintzy crap.
But you know what else is out there in droves is Alcatraz swim team T-shirts.
Yes.
So I went to Chinatown to buy this dumb joke that I could have got anywhere in San Francisco.
Right. That's completely available at the airport.
Right. Exactly.
It's well, and this seems to be. I mean, obviously, this is one part of town that seems completely immune to gentrification of any kind. I mean, it's just they're just not going to allow you to move in and do anything. That's not.
Yeah.
And so it is kind of weird in that respect, in that the entire rest of the city of San Francisco pretty much changes over every 5 or 10 years.
That would be really interesting if there was this wave of attempted gentrification in Chinatown, these rich hipsters hey, you like Modest Mouse?
like somebody buys Sam Wo restaurant and changes it into a I don't know.
Yeah, cupcake shop.
Right, Moto pizza or something like that.
I remember the first time I came in here years and years ago, and my description of it was, it's like being on shore leave in the movie From Here to Eternity.
And it remains that way.
Maybe it could be construed as racist, but that's probably just what came to my mind, my cinema idiot mind first.
Well, it certainly speaks to, or it speaks of an elderly reference. It's it just reminds me of the first time I saw a talkie. But yeah, it is very it does have sort of it's not, I wouldn't call it Hawaii themed at all. It's really more.
It's not.
It's really more sort of almost like Chinese shore leave, kind of.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's got sort of a Polynesian atmosphere, but
not
but
really.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not an island theme at all.
Yeah. I guess it is just very Chinese. I think that those two styles sort of get blended sometimes, and this is
especially
totally
to the untrained eyes of two drunk white guys.
What is that, Mandarin or Cantonese?
Do you
Japanese, you idiot.
Do you know Kung Fu or karate?
Right. I'm going to assume you're all ninjas.
Well, that didn't take long.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, luckily, we're stuffed over here in the corner, and
Yeah,
we've convinced the bartender that we're from a local radio station, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Well, while I shouted to the bar, at least it certainly fooled them.
Right, exactly. So, guess what I did yesterday?
What did you do?
I broke down and I watched a few of these on television. I decided I wanted to experience it for myself with my own eyes. And I went to the America's Cup race.
Ooh.
Now, first off,
So you're rubbing shoulders with the high society there.
well, first off, the Americans are getting murdered. Okay,
Right.
like the
Might
score
as
is
well see them while they're still above water and they're not sunk.
so the score is 6-1. So
Is it really?
yes,
Oh my God.
the Kiwis have won 6 races, and the Americans managed to lose a race
Wait, what
that they
happened to
didn't
the-
even run.
What happened to the one? Didn't we see? Wasn't there one on Sunday that?
Well, this is what
the Americans
happened.
won?
Is yes, they did win one race, but they were docked 2 races because they were cheating.
How are they cheating?
I can't
Or is it
remember.
too complicated to even go into?
I have no idea.
It's like,
But so they were
You running 6 gigs of RAM on your boat? You're
Right.
only allowed
Yeah,
4.
you know what? Someone noticed there was a huge outboard motor on the back.
So they had a team of like Vikings below rowing.
So they got docked 2 races. So even though they won one, they're still in the whole one race. So basically, what it means, it's the first to 9.
Right.
So the Kiwis are up 6-1, but they have 2 races a day, which ensures that there will be at least 2 more days of sailing.
Now, is it possible? I mean, like, 'cause it just seems so silly to have a sport where you're going to like have like negative games and stuff like that. Because theoretically, couldn't this go on forever? Like, if they both kept getting penalized?
Yeah, but if they both kept cheating, like
Yeah.
I'm assuming like after you get caught cheating, Larry Ellison, you stop, right?
Or you think like, what have I got to lose?
He doesn't have man like. They're getting so killed. Like, can you imagine how mad Larry Ellison is?
They're gonna have to like bring cannons on board for the final like.
Just think about how many kittens he's going to strangle if they lose. And it's not his fault. He's a rich billionaire. That's what he does.
Exactly. He wishes he could stop.
Right, exactly. And the good thing is there's a lot of like Kiwis in town.
Yeah.
They're, everywhere you go, there's like, the New Zealand flag and that's silly like Hobbit accent. Yeah, like if we lose the America's Cup, they're going to take it back to
Right.
like Mordor. We'll have to like we'll have to win it back in like Helm's Deep.
Exactly. Well, it's weird. I mean, they really only have 2 sports that they care about.
3?
It's like 3, because they've got the rugby,
They're the best in the world in rugby.
and then they got the sailing. And what else do they have?
You want to venture a guess?
Well, I guess they have some soccer. Or
Cricket.
oh, you're
They're
right.
huge into cricket.
Oh, you're right. But the Australians are better at cricket, though. I think.
Oh, are they?
Like, I think so. Like I remember, well, at least maybe they used to be. Like, but I remember hearing about like famous Australian cricketers every once in a while.
I was down at the race yesterday. I was like, if I get like really drunk, I'm just gonna start making all these obnoxious remarks to New Zealanders. But like all my references will be Australian. You're like, oh, why don't you go hug a koala bear? That's not New Zealand.
It's all part of sort of the taking like a Irish person giving like criticizing things about Scotland.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Like, you and your stupid kilts.
I once was, in a past life when I was working for Super Shuttle, I had an entire van of Kiwis. And, they're all talking and they're all very, very pleasant. And, of course, I chime in with, so where in Australia are you guys from? And they all just, went, oh. They, gave me the proper amount of grief for it. But they were good-hearted. Like, they were trying to explain it to me. They said, look, Jeff, how would you like it if I mistook you for a Canadian? I was like, honestly, I really wouldn't care. I was like, at least I'd have health insurance.
I'd be like, well, at least I border the most important country in the world, and I'm not some island 19 hours away from it.
It's not a race to the bottom, guys.
I know it is sort of one of those like L.A. San Francisco rivalries where like you find out later that it was only one side gave a shit about it.
You know, isn't it always like the bigger like there's an L.A. San Francisco rivalry, but if you go to like L.A., like they're not like talking shit about San Francisco.
No,
because like they're bigger.
Right.
And they're like,
well, they're not even really talking shit about New York or anything like that because you know there's nowhere near them that's anywhere as close as big. So they're just kind of like we're the biggest place. So what?
Yeah, and like,
and it's not like they're boastful about it. It's just kind of like, yeah, okay, we're bigger than you.
But if you're
statistically,
if you're in San Francisco and someone mentions, like a comedian on stage mentions L.A., you'll hear people start hissing. It's just like, and like Moshe Kasher does a great bit about that. He's like, exactly what is it that you hate about L.A.? That people are physically attractive?
Well, and it is weird. Like, there's a very specific type of offense that brings out the hiss. And it's always like the most convoluted, awful, like if somebody mentions like George Bush in Berkeley or something like that, like, oh,
I know. I need to let everybody know that I know what's right and what's wrong.
Right, exactly. If I have any approval of this, I want to make sure that people know it's ironic.
Yeah, but it's like the Australia, New Zealand. Although I wasn't in New Zealand long enough to sort of really, figure out what was going on, what the beef they had with each other was. Yeah. But it's like I feel like Australia's bigger, right, and so New Zealand's always very, very protective of not being lumped in with those people. In the same way, the Canadians, if you're traveling, like the worst people I've met when I was traveling were Canadians, and it's just because like they want to make sure everybody knows that they are not Americans.
Right, right.
Oh, but if you say you're from America, they get super mad about that too, because like, oh well, we're in America too. It's
that's right. I forgot about that
yeah.
particular grudge that Canadians have as well.
Oh right,
this has been building up for a while. Like this is a few episodes in a row where we have beef with Canada.
Well, I'm just saying, like, Canada, you come at me anytime. I'm ready for you.
Yeah, like talk about a one-sided rivalry. Like the U.S. is hardly sitting around and going, God, I hope Canada isn't pissed at us.
Oh, really? It's like they'll stop sending all their good comedians our way, like Jim Carrey.
It's right, like Eugene Levy. But so would you say this must be one of the smaller bars in the entire city, right? Like,
yeah, it's probably
because it's about as big as the bar itself times 2.
Yeah, it's just bigger than the bar.
Yeah. Which is crazy, and there's just it's one of those sort of long C shapes or whatever that hugs the wall, and so the bartender has to sneak under a platform on one side of it.
I mean, we're here in the middle of the day, and it's virtually empty.
Yeah.
But I'm sure at night it gets really busy.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I mean, it's so close to.
Well, and it's just part of a general crawl that people are going to make screwing around, going to and certainly in this area, if you're in a bachelor party or something like that, and going to one of the many sort of underground anything goes clubs.
This actually is for anyone visiting San Francisco. I used to love doing this sort of walk where I start at Union Square, then walk up Grant Street, and you go all the way through Chinatown, and then you fall into North Beach.
Oh, right.
And if you want to keep going, you can go to Fisherman's Wharf. So you see 4 very distinct neighborhoods in one afternoon.
Right. I actually walked here through the Stockton Tunnel, which I don't think I've ever walked through that tunnel before.
I ride my bike through there a lot.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a fun tunnel.
Are you allowed? You're allowed to ride your bike on the pedestrian walkway there or whatever?
Oh,
or is there a separate bike?
I go on the street.
Oh shit! Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I think through the Broadway tunnel.
Yeah.
There, I've gone on the sidewalk, but it's so thin that if somebody's coming the other way, you have to either stop, or basically if there's a bike coming the other way, you really have to negotiate this. I was in Alameda, and I took the tunnel that goes from Alameda to Oakland.
Yeah.
And the little area where you can ride your bike is so thin that if another bicyclist is coming the other way, you have to get off your bike, basically pick it up by the frame, hold it above your head, and then walk past this other bicyclist.
Well, this has been another episode of Tunnels Without Cars.
Exactly.
With Jeff and Andrew.
Aren't you all listening?
But no, I was gonna say this being one of the smaller bars in the city, a few years ago, me and my wife had a chance to go to Tokyo, and there's a whole area in Tokyo actually that's this massive collection of bars that each hold about 3 or 4 people.
Wow.
They're literally like, one
Like
bar.
It's like a compartment.
Yeah, it is, and it's crazy because it's almost like a shanty town. It looks like, but it's just probably 100 or 200 bars all right next to each other that each hold like maximum 5 people.
Wow.
And so it's really it's weird, and it's very specific, and like there's tons of them that look like, oh, okay, I wouldn't even be welcome in here, or that they're pretty much just 5 regulars that
Right.
they don't have room for any more people and never will.
I remember somebody telling me a long time ago, we were talking about karaoke, and someone mentioned, oh, is it Japanese style or like regular American karaoke? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And like,
Depending on how much coke you do ahead of time or something.
and it was kind of like, they showed it in the movie Lost in Translation, but like the Japanese style is like you have a little room. It's like
right.
a studio,
Yeah, your own
like
little private
your own
thing.
little private room.
Yeah, yeah.
And then that's where you can embarrass yourself instead of like you're in the back of a punk bar in the Mission.
Right. Which makes me wonder. I mean, like maybe there is some sort of like shame basis to that or something like that, where it's like, yeah, I want to be a drunken reprobate, but I want as few people around as possible to see it.
That's pretty considerate, actually. I mean, like, we don't have that problem in America at all. You're like, hey, I want everybody to know that I'm drunk and stupid.
Yeah, exactly. I want this whole Buffalo Wild Wings to know that I'm that I'm partying.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Which makes me think that, like, if you brought, like, an average, like, Japanese businessman to a goddamn Dave & Buster's or something like that, their head would explode.
Oh, God, that would be terrible.
They'd just be like, look at these shameless people.
Right, exactly. Have you no shame? But it's like, you're in America. Of course they have no shame. Nobody has shame in America.
Or if you took
have
them, like,
seen reality
Oktoberfest
television?
or something like that, and it's like, hey, look at all those people drinking beer out of a shoe.
Right, yeah. All right, hey, you ready to take a break?
Yeah, let's get some more drinks.
All right, we will be back from the Buddha Lounge. Is it a lounge?
Buddha Lounge, indeed.
Yes. All right. All right, and we are back at the Buddha Lounge.
Hello.
Thank you. So I want to say one last thing about the America's Cup.
Well, I've always said that can't hear enough about the America's Cup. Go ahead.
So the tickets to the America's Cup are actually pretty expensive. They're like $70.
So it's basically $70 to what? Do you get to ride on the boat? Or is it just $75 to stand on an embankment near the boats?
But this is not my point. Don't buy a ticket. Just go down to the wave organ and stand on the side. And you have like a bed. The people who bought tickets to the grandstand had worse views than I did, who just like went down to the wave organ by the yacht club. And everybody was at that. I mean, I'm sure you get something else for the ticket. Like maybe you get to go see the Doobie Brothers play it on a flotation device or something like that.
Or you get like a baseball cap that says "World's Biggest Idiot" on it.
Right, but there's like a box office there. Like actually, if you go down to Marina Green, it's really interesting because there's like they have all the boats like there, and they explain like the whole like science behind the catamaran and the strategies and the sailing. So that's really interesting. You don't need a ticket for that. You don't need to pay anything for that. Just go down there, hang out. But then there's like a box office, and I wanted to go over there and be like, yes, I'll have a ticket to the next race because I am an idiot.
It's like, I would like to buy a ticket to go home and watch this on my computer.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm sure you get more for if you buy a ticket because there's also like a grandstand down a little past Pier 39 where I think they like whoever wins the boat goes in, everybody cheers.
Right.
Whatever. Now,
yippee!
Now I see the boat.
For like $75, you get all the excitement of watching the Pacific Princess return from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
Exactly. Is that Isaac on the front?
No, that would be like an America's Cup I could get behind. Would be like one where each boat had to have a bartender to like mix drinks while they were racing.
If you were on one of those like cruise liners, and you're like a balding black man with a mustache, wouldn't you just like make bank?
Yeah, probably. Well, hey, I have a bone to pick. Uh-oh, here it comes.
Should have some like theme music for this.
It's a new segment.
It's
bone picking.
Cranky old man.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much every segment. But there's this commercial that's running now for what what used to be a respectable beer, I think. Like, so it's Samuel Adams is the beer in question.
I've heard of this.
You've heard of
fellow.
Sam Adams?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's a patriot and a brewer.
Yeah.
And just your basic stalwart of New England patriotism and and drunkenness.
He thinks the Yankees suck.
Exactly. He thinks weekends are a wicked piss where he gets to fucking tell his boss to go fuck himself.
He wasn't crying during Goodwill Hunting. He had something in his eye.
Exactly. But so Sam Adams is running this commercial, and basically it's sort of like it's supposed to be a modern update of the whole we put like Folgers in these people's coffee cups and they're so stupid they didn't even know the difference.
Oh, right.
And so it's like they're basically trying to it's some craft brewery or mission style bar that these people are at, and they all look like they just came from a goddamn Dave Matthews concert, or
right.
They're wearing a stupid hat, or they're clearly an advertising executive's idea of what hipsters look like.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like these guys that are wow, when we just told these guys that what they've actually been drinking was Sam Adams, and instead of being like, well, yeah, I want my $10 fucking back,
right? Yeah.
If you just gave me something I can get at any 7-Eleven. But yeah, so instead, they're all like, wow, dude, I had no idea, and they're all and then they all talk like idiots too. So it's just it's this big fuck you from Sam Adams to the entire craft brew movement. Like, what you
right.
guys do means nothing because our beer tastes just the same. So why don't you knock it off?
Well, I feel like their premise is flawed.
Totally,
where
yeah.
their premise, and Sam Adams is not a bad beer, but they think
it's
that
not.
people would oh my god, their head's gonna explode if they think that they're drinking.
Right.
a Stone Brewery craft brew, and it's a Sam Adams. It's
they're gonna faint like some lady in the 20s and be like, "Oh no, I accidentally drank Sam Adams."
Oh, Bob! She's gonna do a spit take right on camera.
Oh, I got the vapors. But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is that it's not a shitty beer, so that which almost pisses me off more because because they have this niche that they were able to sort of carve for themselves, where it's like
right.
we're the beer that's not 100% shitty. It's
right.
it's 70% shitty, and
And also, they were a small brewery that got really big,
right.
and they succeeded and that is to be commended, that they basically found their own market share,
right.
in a market that is dominated by Anheuser-Busch and Coors, right. And so instead of basically taking credit for taking on the big guys
yeah.
and finding a market for their beer. They're like, let's go after the small guys.
Exactly. Well, yeah, and considering that,
really
basically how they ascended was by taking on Budweiser and Coors and being like, hey, not for nothing, but our beer tastes better than this shit.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And then people
and now it's like they reached a certain level, and then now they're like, well, yeah, let's knock all these people off the lines of our balloon.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. It's like one of those stories where somebody gets successful and then shuts the door behind them.
Well, thanks for all the help, guys. Now, go fuck yourselves.
Speaking of, well, since you're on a little bitch rant here,
yeah.
I think
I think we found a new name for the segment.
And we have, and you know what? It's going to be a little, it's going to be a theme here.
Okay.
And as I've mentioned in the past, many barcasts in the past, I am from New England. And I'm a New England sports fan.
Right.
But man, I was at a bar yesterday watching the Patriots game. First off, the Patriots game was unwatchable. It was so bad.
Right.
Even though they beat the Jets. But if we can't even cover the spread against the Jets, then I don't even know why I'm getting out of bed in the morning. But
this is a Patriots team that's missing an awful lot.
Lots of people.
A lot of weapons.
Yeah.
I mean,
they've got the injury bug, and they've got
Hernandez,
the murder bug.
Gronkowski. Yeah. Murder's been spreading around the team.
Right.
Somebody got on their pillowcase or something like that, and everybody's got a case of the kill 'em ups.
Yeah, it's like when after Larry Bird left the Celtics, people were they're like, what's wrong with the Celtics? It's like, well, two of their players, one of them's heart exploded, and the other one just kind of collapsed and just died.
Right. Other than that, nothing much.
Exactly. Let's see how good you do when that happens.
Anyway, go ahead.
So I'm watching the Patriots game, and it's my fault. I'm in the marina, and there's some dude in the bar who is wearing a Red Sox jersey watching the Patriots game and just complaining about the Patriots. And like one of the things he said was, there's a rookie on the team, and his name's Aaron Dodson, and he dropped a pass, and the guy like stands up and goes, "That guy's overrated." And I'm just like, dude,
the rookie.
he's a rookie. It's his second game of the season. I was like, this is why people hate Boston sports fans. It's like that encapsulates like the Boston like sports talk radio, where it's just like everybody is so prone to like extreme hyperbole, and everybody just wants to say something so people like recognize them.
Right.
But it's like, yeah, this dude is a rookie. He's like 22 years old. It's his second game. Maybe you wait 3 games before you start talking shit about this guy.
I mean, if you think about it, I mean, this is the guy that got away from Massachusetts too, and but still wasn't able to shed that. I mean, like if you go to Massachusetts, I'm sure there's a guy very similar to this guy in Massachusetts. But he screamed out probably like, go back to Mattapan. Or
Yeah. Roxbury sucks.
Right. Oh, by the way, the entire Ohio State University student body just walked in.
Oh, shit. You know what?
What's going on? Is there college basketball?
Yeah, Ohio State is playing Cal.
In basketball or football? Oh,
football.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, wow. Okay, that explains it. I saw a few people wearing Ohio State stuff earlier, and I was confused.
So Andrew, go over there and say, hey, so when you guys off of a suspension?
You're like, so if I paint my dick like a Michigan football helmet, will you suck it?
Yeah, that's you're gonna make a lot of friends that way.
I'd like to think that I'm really good at getting in imaginary fights in bars.
Is Ohio? I know exactly. I've often said that you and I are when something happens in a bar, we just kind of register it away in our head,
right?
And then like 2 hours later, we think of all the things we should have said.
Well, it's obviously
you, me, and John Freitas.
Right. Obviously, if any single one of them came over here, I would be like, oh, yeah, I'm a big Buckeye fan. Totally. You guys know Michael Hawley?
I love Columbus. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, that Eddie George, he was good, huh?
Since we're talking about sports, I'm going to talk about Columbus. How about, do you have soccer fever yet?
Soccer fever? Oh, USA's in the World Cup now.
USA is in the World Cup for...
Plus we had a break last week for European qualifiers, but the Bundesliga and the Barclays Premier League are both in their third or fourth week now.
I have no idea what's going on.
I'm just tossing words up against.
All I want to say is
what I'm talking about.
People are making a big deal over how the USA has qualified for the first they haven't not qualified since I don't know, 86 something like that.
Pretty lucky. We're pretty lucky to be on a continent with only 2 other countries.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Well, we got that going for us, and one of those years we hosted, so that's an automatic qualify. So people are just patting, they're basically gonna dislocate their shoulder, patting themselves in the back for this.
Well, it's funny because
what's the highest we've ever place we've ever come on?
The highest we've ever placed in the World Cup?
In the World Cup, yeah.
8th, I think, and that was in 2002, maybe.
USA, USA.
Well, and the thing is too, and this happens because there's the North America. I guess North and Central America are combined into one conference.
Does Canada know that there's other Americans, like Central Americans?
I'm from Honduras, bitch. How dare you? But no, it's funny because you've got North America and Central America. South America is its own conference. Europe is its own conference. So there's 50 powerhouses in Europe that could probably beat the best team in North America. But then you've also got the Oceanic Division. Yeah,
which is New Zealand,
Samoa.
Yeah, it's all those Pacific
Fiji,
Islands.
And
it's New Zealand
and so
Australia.
it would be if Australia put together a streak, it'd be the same thing where it's you guys did a really good job of beating out Moorea or Fiji or something to get in some island with 10 people on it. So that's their whole team.
Take that.
Exactly.
Take that, Samoa.
Take that guy that we just discovered 10 years ago. So yeah, soccer fever. It's kicking in as we're surrounded by elderly football fans.
What's the thing? Oh, okay, so I was in the marina yesterday. Let me tell this story.
Oh, yeah.
And the marina is, for anyone who doesn't know, it's like the extended collegiate life.
Okay.
It's where like people move to if like they just really miss Columbus, Ohio, or
well, basically, if they're like, you know what, I was really popular and cool in college, and I don't want to give that up, so I want to go somewhere where it means something to be good looking.
Right, and so I'm at the bus stop watching the game, and there are these tables there, and they look like they're kind of cases or something. So I was like saying to my friend, I was like, "What do you think is in this case?" As it turns out, it wasn't it wasn't a case. That's like the table. It's like this long plastic tables, and they're for flip cup tournaments.
Good boy.
Now, I never played flip cup,
right.
And I know
What's the difference between flip cup and beer pong?
There's definitely a difference.
Okay.
Because I know my old roommate, he was really good at beer pong, and he's like 10 years younger than me. And I feel like people who are like 10 years younger than him are these people who play flip cup.
Right.
But man, I couldn't figure out whether it was like super pathetic or like I was just like sort of jealous of these people because like all these people came in, they're wearing their flip cup sort of t-shirt, all the same t-shirts.
Right.
And I'm just like, I don't know if it. Yeah, I'm
really,
not sure if it's
there's very little difference between like this and like what goes on at a gay bar or something like that, where it's just or like a drag show or something like that. It's like nice outfits, boys.
Well, it's like like they're clearly in like a little group, like
right.
and they have all these T-shirts that say we throw the best parties and we're all best friends. I'm just like, yeah, you're fucking 24 years old.
Right.
But I was like on the other side, like, you know what? Maybe I'm just jealous. Maybe I want to be in their little group.
Maybe I want to eat a Big Cherry that's been dropped down one of their assholes.
Okay, I'm out then.
Yeah, all right, even I have my limits.
So anyway, like that's the extended collegiate experience in San Francisco.
What do you want to take a break and like get to know these Buckeyes a little bit better?
You know, a Buckeye is poisonous, I believe.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, let's not get to know them then.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a break. This is SFBarkast, and we will be back from the Buddha Lounge in Chinatown.
Free popcorn.
All right, and we are back at the Buddha Lounge.
Konnichiwa. That's wrong.
Yeah.
that's Japanese.
That is. Well,
I can't even be racist.
Right? I guess I'm going to give you points for trying.
Well, you sort of have to, right?
One of the great things about this bar also is when you have to go, the restroom is downstairs.
Uh-huh.
So you have to get like buzzed in through this gate.
Right.
It looks like you're going to like an illegal poker game. And yeah, it's like this very thin sort of stairwell.
Right.
And I don't know, a fire inspector might not think it was too cool, but it feels so authentic to me that I love it.
Right. It's like sort of like being in a spy movie or something like that. Like every time you got to take a leak.
Right.
You're like, can you buzz me in, Miss Moneypenny? I've got to drop a deuce.
So we are. Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know if the microphones are picking that up, but somebody keeps doing a chicken impression, and I guess it's fitting.
Not somebody, the funniest person in the entire world.
Somebody who's clearly been to China before and knows
right.
what a bar should sound like.
Right. So I don't know if I talked about this before, but I want to mention something about bicycling in San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
First off, it's super dangerous, and second off, it's really fun.
Well documented.
Well documented. And I think I mentioned last time I was on the Midnight Mystery Ride, which is a ride that starts at midnight, and
it's a mystery.
And it is a mystery. Nobody knows where we're going to go.
This is the worst book report I've ever heard.
We had a very somber start last month because we started at this one spot where a bicyclist who used to ride with us got killed.
Yeah.
Got hit by a semi-truck of all things.
Jeez.
And
like, does a semi-truck even realize that that's happened? Like,
well, I think it should. He should have, because she was riding up Folsom Street, and there's a bike lane right there.
Right.
And so, of course, like the truck is going faster than the bicyclists.
Yeah.
So he must have known there was a bike lane there, and he might have even like passed her and then clipped her. So this was one of the things I'm going to say about that whole maneuver is the SFPD like had some lunatic from the SFPD came in and interrupted like a memorial for her at that spot because he was trying to tell people how to pass.
Right.
Like turn, like cars, like Folsom's a one-way, and
so he decided to make this a teachable moment.
Yeah, exactly. So he showed up and he started to tell people that like you need to pass on the left, and that's what I do when I ride in the city. Like if I see someone's blinker, like to take a right, I take the lane and I pass on the left.
Right.
But like just like recently, I was doing that on Valencia Street. Someone's going to turn onto 14th, take a right onto 14th. I'm behind them. I take the lane and pass on the left, and some dude in another car started yelling at me, like that, like, oh, you have to like stay in your bike lane. And I was like, and then of course like he drives off, but like at first I didn't have enough time to explain to him that A, he's an idiot,
right?
B, that's how that girl got killed, and C, like I'm gonna do what's safest for me.
Right.
So, you know, I'm like, if I can,
Are you
like,
sure you didn't have time to say all that to him?
Yeah.
And furthermore.
And
you might want to pull over. This is going to take. I have some charts I'd like you to see.
So just in case anyone's like driving or riding in San Francisco, if you're in a car and you see someone start to take the lane because someone's taking a right, just it's totally normal.
Right.
Don't freak out. And if you're a bicyclist, take the lane and pass on the left.
Like
because
I'm completely unsuited to ride a bike in this city, and I know it because even during the times that I've lived here and everything like that, I wasn't bicycling around, and like now I've gotten used to, cycling around like the suburbs, pretty much, and like, my biggest worry is like, oh, I might hit a rock, and like, it might, throw me off for a second, or like I might have to like go over a bridge or something like that.
I gotta say, it actually is really fun. I mean, it's every time you go like urban bike riding, everything is a goddamn, it's like a puzzle.
Video game?
It's like, it's a video game, but it's like, like you're constantly processing all this information. You're anticipating everybody else's moves.
Right.
So, I really like it, but it is dangerous.
Yeah.
One last thing I want to say about that poor girl that died. Like it was almost like a Trayvon Martin thing. Not to like, I know it sounds sort of extreme, but like the cop showed up, saw that like this truck driver had run this girl over, and then
off you go.
Sent him on his way.
Right.
Yeah, and then it was like on like the blogs and like I got a little play, and they were like, oh, we're gonna arrest that guy.
Right.
It's like, oh, now you're gonna arrest him?
Well, and I'm sure that like if this were to somehow come to trial or something, now the fact that they didn't arrest him almost makes him like guaranteed to get off on it, because like they'll be like, well, if they didn't even think they had enough to keep him at the scene, like how can they possibly, like, how can you, the jury, like, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if I might.
If you get a chance to go down, if you're going down Folsom Street, there's like a little memorial there. It's like it's what they call a ghost bike.
Ghost bike.
It's like an all-white bike, and it's like a memorial for someone who died on a bicyclist who died.
Right.
And there's actually a sign there that says a bicyclist died here, and if you have any information or if you were a witness, please contact this number. So.
Well, I was going to say too, like, and this isn't really related to that at all, but speaking of people who like biked around the city quite a bit, actually one of the reasons, or one of the last people that I remember being in this bar with many years ago was our buddy Seppi, and
yes.
Like Seppi used to hang out here quite a bit, I think, and hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn, and like and
he's a big bicyclist.
Yeah, and he used to actually see him every once in a while biking like down 4th or Mission or like one of the streets downtown. He would be biking it on a wheelie like the whole time. Like he would be dodging it out of cars like only on his back wheel. He
also
a complete idiot.
Doesn't he have a story where like he was like riding down Market Street? By the way, I rode my bike down Market Street, and they're trying to make it more. It's trying to make it safer for bicyclists, so they're diverting a lot of traffic, a lot of non-commercial traffic. Like if you're a commercial truck, you're doing deliveries and stuff, you can go down there. But they try to divert a lot of like the other traffic off of just to like make it sort of more bike friendly. It's still goddamn harrowing going down Market Street. It's just like there's so much going on. Then you have like tourists like walking in the middle of the street.
Well, and the train tracks there, like that you could plant your wheel into and fuck you up.
So once again, really dangerous but really fun.
Well, I remember a while back telling you that me and my wife had ridden our bikes from like a local brewery around where we are to our house, and like the first thing you said was riding your bike when you're like shit-faced drunk, sure is dangerous, but boy, it sure is fun, isn't it?
Well, that's another. I wasn't going to go in there into that, but that's really fun too. But you know what? You can get a DUI on a bicycle.
I've heard, yeah, but I've heard of a couple instances of that happening, and it always seems like really shitty luck.
There's probably somebody mouthing off to the cop.
Yeah, and you know what? You could probably get if you're drunk enough, you can get busted for taking the bus too. You just have to shout at enough people, and I'm sure they'll throw you off.
Yeah, but you can't get a DUI for being drunk on the bus.
You get drunk and disorderly.
Sure, yeah. I mean, you could get a
sure. All the time.
You could get a DUI if you told the bus driver, "Hey, step aside, Swanson. I'm driving this."
Exactly. You can just grab him by the collar and throw him out and start driving.
You can also get DUIs on boats.
Yes. Well, unless you're in international waters, right?
That seems weird.
Because anything goes in international waters.
If anybody knows anybody who's gotten a DUI, on a skidoo or a boat, I want to interview that person. How do you get pulled over?
I believe that and this is a pretty grim story actually, but I believe a friend of my brother's, he didn't get a DUI on a boat, but he did crash the boat. And it killed a couple people, and he was drunk, and then so that was the big charge was DUI essentially.
I don't know if this is true, but somebody told me in Mexico it's like drinking and driving is allowed, but if you fuck up, they nail you. I mean, it's that's no consolation to anybody who got killed.
Yeah.
But you can be driving around with a beer in your hand in Mexico and go right past the federales. But their whole thing is if you fuck up. Yeah, we're gonna nail you to the wall.
Well, I guess there are sort of two different schools of thought on that, and you've got that almost falls more to the sort of Islamic, hey, you can leave your money anywhere, but if you ever get caught stealing, we'll cut your hands off, and so the sort of ultra strict punishment versus our supposedly our system of innocent until proven guilty or whatever, and then lots of doing everything to protect the 1 in 100 that are innocent.
Serve and protect?
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Fuck that indeed.
You know why? Because when I was back home in Massachusetts, I got pulled over by a cop, and it was 2 in the morning,
right.
And I had a rental car, and you can tell me if you think that this is above board or not.
Okay.
So it's 2 in the morning. I'm driving back.
It's filled with cocaine.
I mean, the whole thing's up to my neck in coke.
The tires are made of coke, so they're looks like I'm driving on a dirt road, even though I'm not.
I got so many dead hookers in the trunk, it's weighing me down.
Exactly.
So I'm driving. It's 2 in the morning. It's Labor Day Sunday, so it's basically an extra Saturday.
Right.
So everywhere I am, there's cops everywhere, with their lights off, looking for people.
Right.
So I have a rental car. I'm driving down the street, and I pass this cop. It's 2 in the morning, so I had my high beams down.
Okay.
So I passed the cop, and then I turned my high beams back on because there's nobody on the road, right?
Yeah.
And I accidentally turned the lights off,
right,
and then turn them back on, right?
Okay.
So the cop starts following me, and
you're signaling him for sex in the bushes or something?
Right. I know we're not in Buena Vista Park here. So I'm doing the speed limit,
okay,
and not being erratic, not swerving or anything like that. Suddenly his lights go on, and I'm just okay. And he comes over. He's like, "You know why I pulled you over?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Is there any reason why you flashed your lights after you passed me?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. This is a rental car, and I'm still getting used to it."
Right.
He's like, "Let me see the rental agreement." So I gave him my registration, all that stuff.
Right.
And then, but I had a few drinks.
Yeah.
But I've honestly felt like I could have passed any field sobriety test.
Right.
But the thing is, the whole time he's there, I'm thinking, this is not probable cause. Like, you have to have probable cause to pull somebody over.
Right.
And, like, he did come back. When he came back, he, like, he was really clear. He's like, I just want to let you know the reason why I pulled you over was because you flashed your lights. And I was just like, well, I didn't even fucking ask that. So maybe that was a little shaky to begin with.
Right.
But it's like, I kind of felt like if I got busted for anything, I got, like, a good lawyer, I would walk.
So,
but this is my take. And, like, I've talked to other people about it, and they said, no, he can pull you over for anything. It's like, that's bullshit. It's like my car. Even if, like, someone said that he thought that maybe I was flashing, letting someone know that there was a cop there. I was like, okay, so maybe
that was my
true,
original thought.
But
So
it's my fucking car. I'll do whatever I want. And also, there's nobody on the road.
Right. Well, and yeah, you can't.
It's like pulling somebody over and saying, like, I noticed your windshield wipers went off. Is there a problem?
Right. Like, I noticed you having a conversation with a guy on the side of the road. Like, were you telling him I'm a cop? It's like, well, A, you're in a cop car. It's pretty obvious you're a cop.
Right. And
that
also,
is weird. That's
So whatever. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of experience with probable cause.
It's times like this. It would have been great. Like if your dad had won the election, you'd be like, do you know who my father is?
There actually was a side of my head because it was like the town adjacent to my hometown, and my little brother is like friends with all the cops in town. So like this is gonna be really embarrassing if I have to call my little brother and be like, yeah, I'm in jail. You either gotta call in a favor or come get me.
Like, who's on the other foot now? All right, you want to take a break?
All right, let's take a break. Let's stop talking shit about cops. All right, this is SFBarkast, and we'll be back from the Buddha Lounge. All right, and we are back at the Buddha Lounge.
The Buddha Lounge. This place is great.
Chinatown.
Like, this is fun.
Yeah,
right?
I like this place.
I like this place. Yeah. I was gonna say. No, it's
got a
tiny.
lot of character.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Like, it just sort of, it feels like you're sitting in history, and then, like I say, like it's incredible. Like, there's not windows or anything like that really to
There's some light in here.
But yeah, but they keep the doors open usually,
yeah.
and like I say, like there's just a constant stream of tourists and world-weary travelers.
You don't have to be a Buddhist to come here.
You don't, but if I'm sure if you are, they won't mind. Probably, like, you're not supposed to drink if you're Buddhist, right?
Oh, is that true?
I don't know.
That would be a flaw in the bar design.
Okay. I thought you were going to say that'd be a flaw in the religion.
Wait a minute, like, you're not supposed to drink if you're Buddhist?
Well, I thought that, like, I mean,
I thought it was like Islamic. You're definitely not supposed to drink.
Well, I don't know if you're not supposed to drink if you're just a follower, but I guess
Buddha
if you're in
himself looks like he's put away a few like high-calorie beers.
He looks like a White Russian drinker to me. Something sugary with lots of cream in it.
Yeah, if you're going by Buddha himself, like one thing that is not forbidden is sitting around, laying around all day, and getting huge.
They certainly don't.
I'd say like exercise is not really high on the Buddhist.
There is nowhere in Buddhism that is forbid Funyuns and an Xbox.
I fucked that joke up, but whatever.
Who cares?
So, yes, I really like this bar as well. It's like I said, it's very authentic.
Yeah.
And it's a fun bar. The bartender here is fantastic. I explained to her we were like going to record, and she was like very nice to us.
It's I mean, it certainly for like relatives and such out of town. If you have like cool sort of fun relatives anyway.
Well, this is what I would say.
Friends,
like,
I should say. I mean, like.
If you're doing the tourist thing and you're walking up Grant Street and you want to see Chinatown, like this is probably the best place you can go.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, there's a couple other bars like karaoke bars, but I think they're not open during the day like now.
Right. Well, I think that like I mean, and if you have a more tense family relationship, then this would be a great place for you to go while the rest of your family goes and wanders around Chinatown.
Yeah,
and they can go buy all the
that's perfect.
New England Patriots merchandise that they want.
Yeah, exactly. They can. I see all these San Francisco 49er shirts. Why are you so biased?
Well, I remember going to I guess it was it Puerto Vallarta? No, it was one of those like Mexico coast cities. But I mean, they had a bunch of a bunch of stuff for people that are on cruises, basically, that stop by the town.
Right.
And so it's just like all of this like crappy merchandise, but like they had like that everything had like all 34 NFL teams on it. Like, you could buy like a Mexican blanket with like the Baltimore Ravens logo on it.
Yeah, they know their audience.
Right.
I know this because I remember what you brought back for me and the story you told where you brought me back a New England Patriots Mexican wrestling mask.
Yeah, like a Lucha Libre mask.
And isn't the story where like you're like, oh, Jeff would love this. This is great. And you're like, how much for this? Guy's like $20. And you're like, fuck that. And the guy's like $5.
I'm like, you don't know Jeff. He's only worth $4. It's like, I have all my friends and their monetary values right here on my phone.
He's just gonna get drunk in it.
It's like, this is hardly worth it for like 10 seconds of Jeff going, oh, that's funny. It's like I don't know if I want to spend $20 on that. But so what about? Have you seen any decent movies lately or anything?
No.
No.
Actually, yeah, I know. I'm amazingly lazy about my movie going, and
yeah. It's a good season. It's a good time of the year for it because there's a lot of shit coming out right now.
Well, it's the thing. Like, I feel like every week there's like a handful of movies I really want to see, and like my enthusiasm evaporates if I don't see it like the first like 10 days.
Oh, I totally feel the same way.
Like Elysium.
Yeah.
Like, I've been waiting for the next like Blomkamp film to come out.
Right.
And I still haven't seen it because I didn't see it the first week. Then second week I still had a lot of enthusiasm. Right. Now I'm just like, whatever.
Well, and then it's so weird because there will be these movies that I hear about them coming out and I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta see that. That looks really good. And like you say, if I don't catch it in the first couple of weeks, which is entirely possible since I see about 3 movies a year, like in the theater.
Yeah.
If I don't catch it, then I'm like, I can wait for it to come out on video. And then by the time it comes out on video, I'm like,
right, exactly.
I don't really even want to see it that much anymore. And like,
I actually have to do this little meditation when I'm watching something, when either it comes out on video or when it comes out on like cable, like HBO or something.
Right.
I have to like think back. Did I want to see this movie when it came out in the theater? Was there any amount
back in that place?
Was there any amount of enthusiasm a year ago? Yes. All right. So now I'll just try to fucking I'll draw a pentagram and try to conjure up that enthusiasm that has been lost to the fucking ether.
Yeah, that's great. No, I don't know if it's I don't know if that's just like a natural part of getting older or what, but it's like
But, it's kind of sad.
The amount of enthusiasm is like an all-time low for everything.
Because everything, even like I read about like the Hollywood, and they say like a movie's make or break time is basically the first 2 weeks.
Right. Like the first night.
Right. Exactly. And it's getting shorter every year. It's like I remember, 1984, Ghostbusters was like the #1 movie for like the entire summer.
Right.
And it was just like, week after week, it was just killing it.
Right.
And now it's like you have like 2 good weeks. Maybe if you have 3 good weeks, you're a huge success.
Right. Yeah. No, this is weird. In fact, the whole sort of movie industry has become so much more about entertainment than art, I think. I know that's like a presumptuous sort of pretentious thing to say. But
sure,
because the experience of seeing a dramatic, movie is essentially as good at home as it is in the theater now.
That's true.
So really, the only reason you're going to a theater to pay $13 or $15 or whatever is to see something, where you think to yourself, well, that's going to be fucking kick ass on a big screen with speakers cranked all the way up.
Right.
And so it's so that's why all the hit movies are stuff that's huge and on fire and in 3D.
And it's also, we can't ignore that, people's attention spans are just especially with the internet. It's do I sit down and do this 3-hour-long project, or do I dick around on YouTube and watch 3-minute videos for 3 hours?
Well, you'll have to see Elysium before we talk about it, because saw it recently, and I've got some things to say about it because we both like District 9 a lot.
Yes, I very much like District 9.
And at that, I think one of the things I liked about it the most was the idea that Neil Blomkamp had like this really great vision where and like District 9 was so tightly sort of wound around the idea of him being South African and being this representation of that. So it's interesting to see that like what he does with some other material that's not as ingrained in him, where it's just more of a standard sci-fi idea rather than something that's totally him driven.
I think that this is totally not going to be fair, but I'm starting to think that Jodie Foster is the kiss of death. Like
what is at this point?
What's the last good Jodie Foster film?
Oh, actually, what's his name? Your favorite podcaster of all time, Bill Simmons. He actually did an entire podcast about whether or not Jodie Foster's career stands up or is relevant, or whether her legend is sort of tarnished or maybe not deserved entirely.
Yeah, there's nothing people want to know more. It's like what's some douchebag guy from Boston, like what he thinks about Academy Award winning talents, careers.
Wait, are you talking about Bill Simmons or yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but,
Bill Simmons is he is a poster boy for the stick to what you know category. It's like he thinks okay, so I wrote a pretty good book about how my dad wanted to see the Red Sox win before he died, and now I can talk about Jodie Foster's career.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I watched so much Real World that I think I can talk about Academy Award winning actresses.
Well, I think weirdly enough, a lot of that I think probably comes from when he was hired to be a writer on Jimmy Kimmel's show, and I think that sort of gave him carte blanche to be oh well, obviously I know everything about pop culture because I'm hired to write on this show, and not just about sports. So.
Yeah, and how'd that go, Bill? You went racing back to what you know, which is sports, because you probably were a shitty comedy writer.
Well, I want to go on the record saying that I don't mind Bill Simmons as much as you do, but so when the
he's got a
Bill Simmons revolt happens, I just want to be able to parachute out of this flaming wreckage.
Believe me, Andrew, you will be one of the last people I kill.
That's right. And you will rule at my side.
And I've said it before. Bill Simmons has a face for radio and a voice for Morse code.
Fantastic.
So how about? I don't think they allow dogs here because I haven't seen any.
It would surprise me if they did. And I don't think that the whole pint or no pint isn't really an issue.
It's not going to be an issue
because they don't have any beer on tap.
Right. One of those Buckeye guys were like, "What do you have on tap?"
Well, and like I say, it's a small bar, and you can pretty much look
down
down the bar and see. Yeah, it's I wanted her to be "Oh yeah, we got plenty of taps. They're all out back. I'll go get them."
So I have a gone but not forgotten. Do you have one?
I don't. So you should go ahead.
And this one really strikes me in the heart because it was one of these beautiful San Francisco gems that people just got hip to and they had to shut it down. It's looking out here, looking out from the Buddha Lounge. You can see this hotel. It used to be the Holiday Inn Golden Gate.
Okay.
And I forget who owns it now. Maybe Wyndham or something like that. It's on. It's on Kearney.
The Kearney in Washington, then?
It's a Kearney in Washington.
Okay. And
it's a huge hotel, I think 27 floors, something like that.
Yeah, it's a big concrete building, right?
Right. And at the top they have a swimming pool.
Right.
And it's there's nothing, and it's just on the top of this 27 floor building is this beautiful swimming pool, and they didn't used to lock it. Now,
right.
I mean, and actually, I think it was
thanks to people who snuck in without permission.
Right. You basically I used to go there and just go swimming, and you're at the top of this this skyscraper,
right?
And right to the left of you, you see the what do you call the Transamerica Pyramid. It was just like one of the most beautiful things you could do in San Francisco. And
one of those pimping things where you're like, you like put on like a gold lame robe and put on a bunch of rings and then sit in the pool and be like.
Every time I went up there was nobody there except for people doing the same thing that I was doing. Like I remember being up there once and this guy just comes over and he's like, "Hey, you staying at the hotel?" And I'm like, he's like, "Me neither." And he's like, "Isn't this the greatest?" He's like, "Don't tell anyone."
You're like, "Are you a cop? You have to tell me if you are."
Right, you wearing a wire in your Speedo? Is it a wire
Tell
in your
me
Speedo?
about your room, sir.
So now that you have to like get like a room key in order to go up there and use it. But the thing that really like amazed me is that like people who came here, I think just because the weather in San Francisco is a little bit chillier than people are used to.
Right.
That like people just didn't want to go swimming.
Right.
It was only like people who lived in San Francisco who were like, yeah, it's like so it's 65 degrees. Like I want to go swimming.
All right. Well, what do you say? You want to wrap this up?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, you know what? Do you have any plugs or anything?
Just the bike rides. Oh, you know what? I used to hate. I didn't hate it, but like there's 3 major bike rides in San Francisco. One is Critical Mass that everybody knows about.
Right.
One is the aforementioned Midnight Mystery Ride, which you can find that online, and they post where the meetup point is the day of. So, and I believe it's like the 3rd Saturday of every month.
Sort of taking a lot of the mystery out of it.
Yes.
If it was a legitimate mystery ride, nobody would ever find out about it.
That is actually a really good ride, though. Like, if you go on that, like, the only problem is you get back at, like, 3:30 in the morning. But whoever, like, organizes the ride usually has something going. So, like, we've had, like, stuff, like, ready for you. So on that ride, like, you know, there have been times where you, like, go around a corner and everybody, like, stands around. There's, like, 2 cellists playing, like, Rock You Like a Hurricane. And the last ride, there was, like, a guy already had, like, a bonfire going way out on this, like, park, like, so far away from everybody.
I thought you were going to say, like, you come around a corner and there's, like, a guy handing out meth to everybody. It's like, all right, like, 2 more hours to go. Don't worry, you won't sleep for 5 days.
There's always hope. But the other ride that I'm going to promote in my plug section is called Bike Party. And when I first started doing Bike Party, it's not my personality because it's sort of like the anti-critical mass where it's like everybody knows what the route is. Like you can look it up online, and if you have to stop for lights, which is their big thing, you want to like be courteous.
Right. This sounds awful. This sounds like all of the like kids that run for like school president, like having their own bike event.
Well, there one time, like maybe 10 years ago, there was a alternative to Critical Mass called Critical Manners. And you can imagine with like such a terrible name.
Like why not just name it like Throw Eggs at Us?
Right, exactly.
Like pelt us with rocks and garbage.
Yeah, we're kind of edgy too. We ride our bikes, but we're really into following the rules.
Okay, it's been 2 blocks. Time for a prayer break.
Right, exactly. So a bike party is kind of like that, but I initially was not really on board with it, but I had such a good time the last time we rode, and that you can find online as well. And basically, that's like you bike around, then you have these stops where everybody just hangs out and people play music and everybody dances.
Right.
I know.
Well, I want to plug 2 band names that I've read in the last week. That and I just love the names. Both of these bands could be terrible,
okay.
but I like the names, so I'm going to plug them. And the first one is Bleeding Rainbow.
Bleeding Rainbow.
Which is like reading rainbow, but bleeding. So it's like, it brings up, learning how to read and mixes it with horrible death, I imagine. But and the other one is a band called Bob Saget.
Called what?
Bob Saget. So it's a combination of Bob Saget and Black Sabbath. Which how can that go wrong?
Some of my favorite band names in the past. REO Speed Dealer.
Yes, I remember them.
Planet Muff.
Was it like a John Cougar Melonhead or something like that?
Syphilis Diller. A shitty band.
One of my favorites too. See, that's most of the battle of being a musician is coming up with a great name for your band.
Oh, absolutely. It's like karaoke. Like half of like half of like doing karaoke is finding a good song to sing.
Right.
And like for anybody out there who's thinking about doing Wanted, Dead or Alive, or Don't Stop Believing, you failed. Everybody likes those songs, but you hear them every time you go to karaoke.
Right. No one's impressed. Even if you sing it really well, like everyone wishes you hadn't.
Right.
All right. So we wrap this up.
All right. So yes.
Excellent.
What's your final analysis, Phil Joanna?
My final analysis. I love the decor. I love the atmosphere. I sound like I'm reviewing a really nice restaurant when this is just like a hole-in-the-wall dive. But no, it's a great institution.
And I think like the best thing, like what you were saying, is that if you're on Grant Street doing the tourist thing, this is going to be this beautiful oasis for you.
It's open early. Like there's no reason not to stop in for a respite and don't they have like a special beer here? Like they have BuddhaBar, I think it's called. That comes in a bottle shaped like the Buddha. So I don't know if that's something that they actually make or if it's from somewhere else.
Oh, boo! Why am I finding out about this now?
Well, that's the beautiful part. We can always record a part 2 where you get stuck into the Buddhas.
Also, they have like a full bar here. So we talked a lot about beer, but they have lots of liquor.
They do, yeah. So I mean, it's minimal in the fact that they don't have drafts, but they have enough of everything else to make it great. And they have a big giant dragon painting on the wall and Chinese lanterns.
Yeah.
And
like Raise the Red Lantern. Like Raise the Red Lantern is probably my favorite Chinese film.
What would my favorite Chinese film of all time be?
Karate Kid.
Probably. Let's say Enter the Dragon. What was the one with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? That's my favorite. Either that or Mickey Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh yeah, if anybody gets a chance, look that up. I heard that even he apologized for that.
Right, and nobody accepted. Everyone was like, "Yeah, you can't apologize for that. That's the worst thing anything's ever been done."
It's like, what did you think? Like, I thought it was going to translate well, and I realized it was like the most racist portrayal.
I thought it was totally accurate. Like I had no my voice coach, as it turns out, was a complete racist.
Believe me, you wouldn't believe like the egg on my face when I was watching the dailies, right. And I realized that I was just insulting an entire continent of people.
In retrospect, the big giant fake teeth were probably overboard.
Right, exactly. So
I think they got in the way of my nuanced performance.
All right, so let's wrap this up.
Okay.
All right, so this is SFBarkast. Hey, wait, what do you think Drew Harmon's doing?
Oh, I don't know. He hasn't made it this far.
Oh, okay.
He's probably passed out by now.
He's probably like on the edge of his seat, going like, they haven't said it yet.
Oh
they
my
haven't
God.
said
His
it yet.
teeth are gritting together. He's like, it's over. Well, I had a good run.
Get your head out.
He's like cocking the gun and putting it in his mouth. Oh well.
Look, get your head out of the oven now.
I'm saved.
All right, we love you, Drew. So we will see you next time. This is SFBarkast. We are signing off from the Buddha Lounge. I'm Jeff Cleary.
I am Andrew Lauder.
And we'll see you next time.